Hey guys, Cameron here with Emerson Property Management. Every week I'm using tools, tactics, strategies, lessons I've learned, things that have helped me build up a sizable own portfolio in about 2 years and now manage that portfolio. Today, guys, I want to talk about different states, owning property in different states. You hear a lot of discussion around, should I invest out of state? My market's too hot, too crazy, prices are too wild. Now interest rates are too high. So prices have elevated at the time of this recording in 2023. Prices really came up over the past 2 or 3 years, and then interest rates dramatically rose, some of the fastest hikes in interest rates we've seen in history. And now prices are still elevated. Maybe they're coming down a little bit, but rates are high and prices are high. So where am I going to go? How am I going to invest? What am I doing? What am I doing to continue to build wealth? And in this video, I would just want to talk through how you really need to know your local market. So I want to talk through Texas, which is where I invest, and then just another state, California. Almost polar opposite, right? So if you think owning property in Texas is similar to owning property in California, you're dramatically wrong. I don't think anybody would argue that, but do you understand the real holding cost difference? How much more expensive is it to hold a property in Texas than California? And you guys might think it's the other way around. Oh, California is so much more expensive, their prices are so high. But I want to show you guys a couple things today that if you're buying out of state, I want you to understand holding costs in Texas are a lot higher than costs in California. So before I get into that, I would like for you guys to like, subscribe if you find value in this. If not, don't give us any pity likes, pity subscribes. Don't want that. And also, if you find it valuable, share it with somebody that you think would get some value from it. So I'm gonna shut my handy dandy fan off. So if I start sweating, you know what's gonna happen. So let's talk about this. So California to Texas. Most people would think California so much more expensive than Texas. Not true. Why is that? I'm gonna show you right here now. You could cheat and look down through this, but I'm gonna walk you through my handy dandy whiteboard and go over this. So purchase price. 500,000 in California, 500,000 in Texas. Now I know what most of you are saying. 500,000 buys nothing in California. I understand that, but this is for illustrative purposes, okay? So if you buy a $500,000 house in California and if you buy a $500,000 house in Texas, this is kind of what you can expect. So when you hear, oh my God, prices over in Nashville are, the average home's $700,000. I think you'll find after seeing this that the holding costs can be a lot different. Just because the purchase price is high doesn't necessarily mean that taxes, insurance, the other costs are higher or less. What are they? That's the big thing especially if you're going to buy a property and eventually do a house hack and eventually rent it out. You want to understand how much your holding costs are, how much are those costs are going to go up every single year. Once you get a mortgage, that thing is locked in. So principal and interest payment at 7% with $50,000 down, so just 10% down payment. You're looking at the same monthly payment, $29.94 for both of these. However, the differences come up with taxes and insurance. So taxes, the California state average is less than 1%. It's 0.71% is the national or is the state average. So that would equate to $3,550 a year. In Texas, and I did specifically in Houston, which is Harris County, because I know the market very well here, and you can go all over Texas, there's different areas. Same thing with California. I'm just using averages for the illustration purposes. But in Houston, it is 2.13% as the average property tax rate. That would equate on a $500,000 home to $10,650 a year. So I want you guys to see the difference here already. Holy Moses. $7,000 a year difference. That's over $500 a month in difference between just the tax rates. So people go, oh, well, Texas doesn't have any state income tax. That's true, but they get you on the property tax. California has super low property tax, but super high state income tax. So you give and take. But if you're buying strictly for illustrative purposes with real estate, if you're not thinking that Uncle Sam's going to get you in Texas because there's no state income tax, he will. So now insurance. Now this is again a state average of $1,383 a year. In Texas, in Houston, this one's $2,936 a year. I can tell you that this is pretty close to what you would pay on about a $500,000 home. Again, assuming no flood. Now, California has gone through a lot of natural disasters with the floods, flash flooding, and fires recently. So this could change in next year or year after. But I can just tell you that this is going to probably stay the same. Insurance rates are all going up, but Houston, there's more natural disasters there with like being so close to water with hurricanes and hail and things like that. Whereas most of the state of California, obviously they're having fire issues right now, but it's less likely that you're going to have an issue, which is why the rates are lower. So if you do this math, if I add my $29.94 with my taxes and insurance, I get a monthly payment of $34.06 in California. If I buy a $500,000 home and put $50,000 down in Texas and add my taxes and insurance, I'm at $41.26. So can you believe that? I mean, really, it's a $600 or over $700 difference. And you guys might be saying, well, you can't buy a $500,000 home in California. That is probably true. I agree with you on that. But when somebody says, oh my gosh, my dollar goes so much further in Texas, I want you to understand that there's carrying costs. This is why it's hard to cash flow in Houston, in Texas. It might be hard to cash flow in California because your purchase price is going to be $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 more. But your taxes and insurance aren't going to be nearly that high. Again, this is triple. It's triple the tax rate, the property tax rate. So when you guys see this, now, again, I'm just using California and Texas, two opposite sides of the spectrum. But I saw this in Nashville as well. Oh my gosh, the home values are going up. It's $700,000, the average house in Nashville. That doesn't necessarily mean that it costs the same or more or less than a $500,000 house in Houston. You don't know. You need to look when you're buying out of state. So I have not read David Green's book From Bigger Pockets on investing of out of state. I'm sure he's got a lot of great information in there. But if he doesn't talk about this, I need you guys to understand this. We have a lot of out of state investors that buy in Houston. The taxes and insurance are something that you need to be made aware of if you haven't already, because these will eat you alive. I mean, this is the difference of thinking that you're going to be at 3,400 and you're at 41. I mean, you've got, again, a $700 difference. That's a lot of cash flow. That is a lot of money per year. So when you guys are investing out of state, think about that, look at that. I didn't even get into maintenance, repairs, vacancy. Obviously, people in California seem to stay around. There's some rent control issues, but I just wanted to show you brass tacks. Like, these are the things you're going to have to pay for no matter what. Whether you're buying, I'm trying to get the glare off. There's the glare off. I'm trying to just show you this is what you got to pay no matter what. We're not going to talk about average AC costs in Houston versus California or versus, Des Moines, Iowa, or whatever. It's just, you're going to have to pay property taxes and insurance no matter where you go. So make sure you guys are doing analysis on that when you're looking at, should I buy this property or not? Don't think that it's like your state. It could be drastically different. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys can see that the same purchase price throughout the country can mean drastically different in your monthly payment. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch y'all next week. Thank you.